Oh, hey there. Welcome to the Panther podcast. I'm Hunter Hinkle. Here's my co-host, Sam Rupe.
And we're going to be going through the Panther recap. So volleyball won the district semifinal against Waverly, and they play the district final this Saturday. Good luck to them.
Cross country will be competing at regionals at Pickerington North Saturday. Good luck to Quinn Mildenstein.
And the varsity football team plays the team up north that I'm not going to say this Friday at home. Get there early. Go Panthers.
Now we're going to send it to my favorite tall man in the whole world, who is 6'7", Sam Rupe.
Hello everyone, I'm Sam Rupe. I'm here with Doug Clifford, Coach Board, and Lane Ratliff, and we'll be talking about last week's game along with this week's game. So Coach, your team handled business in a big way last week, beating Crooksville 45-6 to clinch sole rights to the MVL Small School title. What stood out to you most about the team's performance?
I thought we started really fast, Sam. First drive, I think 5 plays and we were in, and then we got a nice stop, and we were able to score again. So anytime we can get out to a big-time early lead, which we've done last couple of weeks, it just really takes a lot of pressure off of everybody. You know, it's even though it's, you know, by this time it's week 9, there's always some nerves and anxiety there in high school kids. So being able to get up early, you can really just take that deep breath and let it all out, and you know, you can play a little bit more free. You know, you're not worried about thinking about things. So we did a good job there. I'm sure Coach Clifford will mention the special teams. You know, Tyson had a big punt return touchdown, so he kind of spoke that into existence last week. So I thought we played well in all phases of the game. We played well defensively. We did a good job minimizing the big plays and containing the quarterback. So all the things we needed to do, we did.
Well, Lane, that game saw you guys dominate from start to finish. What was working so well for the offense, and how did it feel knowing you secured the conference title?
Well, what worked so well was I think we were just running the ball, doing what we've done all year, was just running the ball and just spreading them out and just dominating up front, because our guys up front are experienced, and that when they're experienced, we can do anything we want. We can throw it, we can run it, and teams like those, we just dominated. So.
Well, it's week 10, and you guys are understandably banged up. We saw Harrison Ratliff leave the game in the third quarter, and can you give us an update on how he's doing and how the team is holding up health-wise?
Yeah, we're good. I mean, he's back this week. We'll monitor him in practice, just like some other guys that have come out of games. So, you know, he obviously, if there's any type of chance he gets on the field Friday, he's going to get on the field. You know, he's very tough, and if we need to put a brace together and strap his leg on, or if we need to perform surgery and give him a robot leg, he's not going to miss this game. So, he's doing okay. He's doing some rehab and some therapy to get right. You know, he's going to be good to go though. So, which is good, and no other major injuries anywhere else. So.
Yeah.
Well, I got one, Sam. I got one. So you've had a running clock 4 weeks in a row. This week you're not going to have a running clock. It's going to be a battle.
Yeah.
So what are you doing, Coach, to prepare your kids for that kind of game?
We're not really changing much. That's kind of why, like, even in those running clock games, we try to really get the first group guys that third quarter, just to where we're ready for a full 4-quarter game. You know, to me, it's kind of like, obviously we had Tri-Valley week 5, and leading up to that game, we had Morgan was running clock, Philo. We had already kind of subbed our JVs in at the end of the game. Fairfield Union, we played the whole thing, but like leading at West End was running clock as well. So it's kind of the same. You know, we've had a lot of running clocks, which has been good. It's been able to get a lot of guys experience. And then week 4 or 5, when we played Tri-Valley and we had to play 4 full quarters, then the guys went out there and did it. Were they tired after? Yeah, you know, but there's nothing in practice that we're going to do to say, hey, here's the level of tired you're going to be on Friday. Let's do it today. You know, we'd rather have them go into the game fresh, so that way if we have to play that 4 quarters, then we'll be ready to do it. But you know, we're not really changing how we're practicing or operating. You know, we've told guys, like, listen, at some point this is going to stop where these running clocks aren't going to happen. You're going to have to play 4 full quarters. So we need to make sure that our reps during practice are intentional, to make sure that they're game reps. You know, we sprint on and off the field to make sure we're getting those high-speed reps. But I don't think there's anything that we're going to be doing differently this week to prepare. We're not going to run extra sprints. We're not going to stay an hour after practice. You know, we'd rather be fresh than go into a game tired when we might have to do that.
Well, speaking of this week's game, around here this is the rivalry game. So Lane, what does this game mean to you personally, and what's the energy been like at practice and with the guys?
It's kind of different energy. This is always a big game, and when we know it's a big game, we always just have more energy. Every week is a big week, and this is just next week, but this is also a rivalry week through Sheridan. And yeah, it's just ever since I've been a freshman, ever since I've known about New Lex football, I've always heard about this game. I've always came to these games to watch it, and to be able to be a part of it is just, it's awesome to be, especially this big of a game where we're at, where we're sitting, and yes, sir.
Yeah, well, where Sheridan's sitting is at 6-3, coming off of a double overtime loss to Tri-Valley, a team you guys beat in Week 5. What kind of challenge do they present, Coach, especially with something to prove after a tough loss like that?
They definitely have something to prove. That's kind of the mentality that they have, that they're always going to step out and give their best foot forward. They're a physical team. They're going to run the ball a lot. They've got a really good back, and the Russell boy, he's very tough, runs hard, runs a lot like Paul. Tough, powerful runner that has good speed, that if he gets through a crease, then he could go. They've got some weapons on the outside. They're experienced. They're always going to be very well coached. Them Week 1 versus them Week 10 is two completely different teams. I don't know that. I'm sorry. I think we just got to go out and do what Lane said. This is the next game up. We always treat it as the next game is the most important game. But kind of the message was yesterday when we were talking to our guys was that, them in the preseason, they talked about some of the things from their last year that don't happen. They can't lose to a losing team. They don't lose to New Lex. Like, that's their mentality, is that we don't lose to New Lex. And so us beating them last year, us keeping them out of the playoffs last year, I'm sure that they have that taste in their mouth. This was a group that lost that 13-year streak to beating New Lex. It was a team that missed their 6 years in a row or 7 years in a row for the playoffs. So they're going to come with everything to prove. They don't care that we beat Tri-Valley and they lost in a heartbreaker. All they care about is getting back on top of it. So we're going to do our part to make sure that this is a rivalry and it's something that's not just a 1 year and it was a fluke. Let's get back on top of it.
What do you expect to see from their defensive standpoint? Are they a cover team? Are they a blitz team? What do you expect to see from their defense?
They're a very sound team is more than anything, but they're going to line up what they've shown on film. They're a 3-3 stack team. They're going to play cover 3, and they're going to play cover 3 very well, because they don't do a whole lot of blitzing. They don't do a ton of coverage checks because they play cover 3. They believe in it, and they play it every snap. A couple years ago we had the All-Star game, and we had Reed Packer who played free safety for him. It's like, man, we probably just play cover 3 because he just sits back there and reads it and can play center field. They've done a couple of different things in the past. Isaiah's junior year, talking to Coach Culver, they had in his interview kind of talked about how they had a spy for him and with his ability to scramble and run. So I imagine they'll have a plan in place if Lane's creating plays with his legs to be able to spy him. They've done some things where they've really slanted their defensive ends out to contain a little bit better. Same deal with Isaiah as a runner. Lane as a runner. That threat changes what you have to do defensively. They've got some good kids on defense. They're obviously, with their size in numbers, they're able to play some guys one way. This is a team I think has the fewest two-way guys that we've played to this year, so they're going to have fresh guys on the field. So their defensive guys don't play a ton of offense except for a couple of their receivers and one lineman. So we're going to see a fresh team that's going to be playing hard on defense, but they're just going to execute what they do. The same thing I talked to you about before. When you have a base defense and you can play it well, you're going to trust that versus just about anything. So there's some things that we're going to try to do to kind of see what they're going to do defensively, if they have any types of adjustments or changes based on what we do schematically versus Tri-Valley or Philo, some other teams that they've had, because every team has their own nuances. But I would envision we're going to see their base defense, and I hope that they don't watch this and say, let's change our base defense.
Well, for both of you know that this can be a very emotional game. So how are you both preparing the team, your teammates, Lane, to stay focused, disciplined, and locked in under those conditions?
I think just to keep the team level-headed, just to trust in ourselves, trust in in our abilities to do what we've done every single week. That this is just another game, and that there's no need to get too high, no need to get too low. That just stay even keel, and if we do what we do, we can come out on top.
Yeah, he's learned the message, man. You can hear this here. That's something we say every week is let's do what we do. Let's not make it about any other team. Let's do what we do. Let's execute our scheme. Let's execute our plays and play to the level that we have for the last 9 weeks. As I said, it's big because it's the next one, but after this, then week 12 becomes our next big one. And so the guys played in this game last year. They came out and were ready to go, and they know Tri-Valley was a good test for us, that we went out and played a very good football team that's finishing out at 8-2, that they're going to be a 4 or 5 seed in Division III, a very good team. So these guys are battle tested and ready to go. So we just got to come out and play ball. And if we have some adversity, which is going to happen versus a good team, just got to ride that wave, and it'll come back around to you. No one play can be the end of that game.
How about the quarterback for Sheridan? Your counterpart, is he a runner or is he a passer?
I think he's a big passer. He's pretty good at passing. He can do everything, I think, but I think his main abilities is passing. So.
Yeah, they'll play too. Tice Whiteman obviously started last year. He got banged up early in the year, so they played some other guys. Last year, beginning of the year, he and Logan Hupp, number 2, were dual quarterbacks, and they kind of split reps. And then Logan banged his hand or wrist up, so then they played just Tice at quarterback. So he got a ton of reps and a ton of experience. He got better. He's got a powerful arm. He's tall, stay in the pocket. More of a pocket passer than a scrambler. But last week, when they needed big plays, they put Logan back there at quarterback, and they ran some Wildcat stuff. They had a junior, Anderson, that got hurt early. That he was playing some quarterback too early when Tice got hurt. So they've played a couple of different guys back there. But Sheridan's always had the ability to run the triple option stuff. And so if Logan Hupp comes in, those are some things that we're thinking about. Is he's a runner, he's a running threat. Now they can get to their triple option stuff. Tice he has a quick release. He got a strong arm, so he can make any throw on the field. So we've got to be able to get pressure to him and not allow him just sit on a spot and throw, because if he can, he'll pick us apart. So
well, in years past, nobody in this conference was better at running that counter tray play. Do they still run that? Yeah,
that's one of their go-to run plays. So they're heavy with the stretch play, the outside zone play, but some of their counter stuff is coming off of that. So when you start over pursuing to the stretch, okay, let's hit it back with the counter coming back the other way. So they do a good job with that. At least they've got a very good back, and Lane Russell, he's a tough kid. He runs hard, physical runner, tough to tackle, will run through any arm tackle you try to do. So we've really got to wrap him up and finish the play.
Yep.
Well, Lane, as a junior quarterback leading an undefeated team, how have you grown into that leadership role, and what's it like commanding this offense every Friday night?
Honestly, as a junior quarterback, the team takes the pressure off of me, honestly. As a quarterback, you think that, you should make all these plays and have all this pressure on you, but no, it's not. You have these guys around you. Football's a team sport, and when you have these types of guys around you, it just takes all the pressure off you. You just go out there and lead. You just go out there and just play and just have fun with your guys and just go out there and lead them and
Well, Lane, you are a defensive coordinator's nightmare, because you can throw the ball accurately, you can throw it shallow, you can throw it deep, you can throw it short, you can put the ball wherever you need to. And then you have this terrible habit of running the thing. And that really depresses defensive coordinators. When you make that perfect call and you have everybody covered and you have the quarterback trapped, and you go like this. And you pick up yards. What is your key? What tells you? What's that little inner bell that goes ding? Time to go.
Well, it's kind of like an internal clock inside your head. Like how much time? Like the more reps you get, the more that internal clock you recognize that, and you realize how much time the line's going to give you, and that when nobody's open, you kind of look for that little crease. I got to make a play. I got to extend this play and try to find work. If I can scramble, if I can get out the pocket to buy me some more time, it's whatever. And it's just that internal clock inside your head.
So last week on South 60, we talked a lot about how, Lane, this is your first year starting at quarterback, but it doesn't look like it. You don't make the mistakes that a first-year quarterback would typically make. So from a coaching perspective, how have you seen Lane develop this year, not just as a quarterback, but as a leader and a student of the game?
Yeah, I'm glad you asked, Sam. I think that there's an old cliche of work hard in silence and let your success bring the noise. And this is a kid that has worked tirelessly. When I first got here and was watching Logan as a junior in the basketball court, this little rascal's walking chest high, head held high. He had the confidence in himself when he was a 4th and 5th grader. Just walking around like he owned the place, like he was the most important in that high school gym. He didn't know no better, he knew. And all his life it's been, you got to live up to be Logan, or you got to live up to be Lucas. You got to be the best Ratliff, and he's being the very best Lane Ratliff he can be. He's not trying to be anybody that he's not. He's not necessarily the most vocal guy on the team, but when he needs to be, he is. When he works tirelessly. He's the hardest worker in the room. The unseen hours that he spent in the spring morning when, some guys would come down and throw, but then he'd stay an extra 30, 40 minutes. He'd work on pass drops. He'd work on his DB drops. And there's nobody else out there. He's just doing it. There's nobody there to watch. There's nobody filming him. He's just doing it because he knows he needs to be in that spot when the team needs him to be. And he has a great belief in himself. He works so hard to make sure that he was ready for him when this moment came. And so, he played all last year as a DB and as a wide receiver out of position. We had some guys banged up, stepped in and played, didn't miss a beat. He came in and he's probably one of our best DBs, but because of the value he brings offensively and not really having a contingency plan behind him, except for a freshman, we really can't play him so much on defense. If we did, we did versus Philo, and he had a breakout game. But he doesn't care about that. He doesn't care that he's not playing every snap of defense. He's still going to take his defensive reps during practice. He's on the sideline taking mental reps. You can see him taking his 3-step drop on the sideline when the other guys are in. Like, he just is everything you want in a leader, and he cares, and he puts everything he has and all that he has for the other guys. And so I can't say enough good things about him, and the amount of time that he's put into this to make sure he was ready for the moment. I'm glad you asked that question. It's been on my heart. Love this guy. He's a great kid.
Well, I tell you, there's nothing more depressing for a defensive coordinator to go through the pass rush, the perfect call, and then when you do get to take a break and let somebody call the offense, his quarterback comes on the field and knocks the living crap out of your star running back. I saw Joe Burrow do that in a playoff game, and I think it's a championship game. He came up and he just knocked somebody's helmet off. And I talked to his father this summer, and he said he'd love to play defense, but they only get to play in emergencies. So what about your defense? Do you like that as well as offense?
Yeah, I do like. I like defense a lot. I mean, through the summer, I always looked at videos and stuff like these guys. I always did love defense, especially playing it last year. I fell in love with it, and I honestly like to kind of make contact. It kind of gets me in like a groove of the game, and I just like hitting sometimes.
Yep.
You ever see him run and he throws his left shoulder into a defender like a middle linebacker? Doesn't care.
We talk about that all the time. How he when he runs the ball, where most of the quarterbacks in the universe have practiced that slide into second base. Yeah. He puts his shoulder down and drives through the tackler.
I'm okay with his right shoulder. I just would rather he not use his left. Yeah. But like there was times Isaiah, I think he would accelerate into the sideline, to get out of bounds so he wouldn't get hit there. Now he would avoid some tackles too, but Lane I think seeks it out like Tanner Bankus from Oregon. Like let me find that kid and put a shoulder into him, as opposed to just saying, hey, I'm going to avoid this hit, which could put me on the sideline for a couple of plays. I'll just run through his face.
Yeah. Quarterback with a fullback mentality.
Yeah, I love it, but I don't love it.
Well, this team has so many weapons on offense, so much depth, from the run game to the receiving core to the line in front of you. Lane, what's made this offense so dynamic and hard to stop?
I think it's up front, really, Paul. I think it's our outside threat, but really the main piece, the most experienced piece of our offense is up front, and that's what kind of makes our offense go. Is like when you have people in pass blocking, run blocking that can just open up holes and just give you time, it all starts up front, and it's just awesome to have, and that's when you make plays. When they give you time, when they give you those runs, that's when plays happen.
Well, Coach, as you look toward the playoffs, what's one area you're still emphasizing in practice that can take the team to an even higher level?
Just continue to sharpen up, Sam. I mean, depending on the week, some things are going to look good, some things will look bad. There was times where we didn't tackle great versus Brayson Hill last week. There was weeks where we've tackled really well. We had a good time tackling Levi Wade from Tri-Valley, the kid from Oregon. So there's just things that we're going to continue to work. Tuesday for us is a heavy fundamental day. We go out in just helmets, and we go through all of our special teams for the week, and then really just focus on technique and fundamentals and really slow the game down. Where we're fine tuning some of those things. And that's really what we've talked about all year, is that, when you're playing a team that may be 1-5, you're not thinking, well, I got to have my best for this game, but it's not about that team that's 1-5. It's about preparing yourself for games like this, for games like week 12 in 2 weeks, which will be at home. That's what we're doing. So every week is preparing for that big game that's still to come. And so it's just been stacking days, laying bricks, and being ready to go for that next game. But continue to be better. I think we've done a pretty good job offensively of scoring and putting points on the board. Special teams wasn't great Friday. We had a couple times where guys weren't in on PAT. Almost had one block because Lane forgot to wave the guy back in. And But like Sam, overall we played well. We're 9-0, things are good, but we're always going to continue to get better. We haven't arrived. We're still becoming. So still getting better on offense, defense, and special teams.
So Lane is not going to get the extra lunch.
No extra lunches for Lane.
Oh man.
Although he does eat lots of lunches. I'm like, we're walking into film, and he's like shoveling 4 Uncrustables in his mouth at a time so he can get them all. He'll come down with a foot-long sub and then just pound Uncrustables.
Well, it's not like these dedicated wrestlers that, that don't eat potato chips and candy bars and things like that. It's a little different being a football player than being a wrestler.
Yeah.
Wrestlers are so disciplined about their diet.
Yeah, Coach Ratliff would make sure that they're very disciplined about their diet. He would love to know if any wrestlers are eating chips or Little Debbie's or anything like that,
Yeah.
We would never call anybody
No, never.
So Lane, this team is 9-0. The last time New Lexington had a shot at a perfect regular season, which I think was 2006. Am I correct? We talked about
That's
that.
what the guys upstairs said.
That's the last one that was undefeated. 08 was 9-0 heading into this game and lost this one, but then went on the run.
Yeah, well, before either Lane and I were born, what would it mean to you and your teammates to finish 10-0 and do it by beating Sheridan?
I think it would mean the world to me. Like I said, I've been dreaming of this moment ever since I was a little kid, been working my butt off for it, and that to go 10-0, especially with this group of guys, it would be a dream to me. It would be awesome, and to be able to be called undisputed NVL champs. We might be small school or whatever, but I want to be NVL champs. I want to act like there's no big school, there's no small school, but that we're NVL champs.
Well, Coach, finally, that 2006 team is still talked about, but this group is writing its own story right now. What's your message to the fans, the student section, and the entire New Lexington community heading into Friday night at the Rock?
That's the message to the team has just been continue to create your own legacy. Like I said, the legacy or the story, the narrative coming into the year was all the guys that were gone, not the guys that were coming back. And so those guys were able to really prove their point those first couple weeks. And when they got over that Tri-Valley hump, it's like, well, maybe these guys are for it. Maybe they do have some guys there. And so an opportunity this week to get to 10-0 and be, I think when I talked to Mr. Hinkle yesterday, eight teams, I believe in New Lex history were untied and undefeated. There's a couple others that were 8-0-2. A tie is it's not really a win. So a chance to cement your legacy there, and then go to the postseason and do all those things. Message to the fans and the cheer and everybody else, man. Come out to the game. You got great guys. I know that we have this awesome ability for you guys to stream, and so people from far away can see the game. They can watch the game in real time. They can keep up with us, and you got grandmas and grandparents that can't get there if it's cold or whatever. I get it, right? But man, we got the #1 team in the region playing a big rival. The place should be packed this week. Should be rocking. We've already cemented a first week bye and a round 2 home playoff game. So getting the people out to the game, getting rowdy, getting loud, and really creating this nice home environment. When you watch college football and you see the home field advantage, and the crowds rocking, then the new NCAA games, the stadium pulse, right? That they brought back from NCAA 04, right, which I played before you were born. That was a cool feature, and the stadium shake and everything. That's what you kind of envision. That's what a lot of these guys feed off of. Is man, this place is rocking, and a kid drops a pass on the other team, and it's just is everything, and the cheers and everything. So to be able to get this place packed and jump in, that would be awesome for these kids. Like I said, I know we can watch the game for free at home, and it's an awesome thing, and I love to go back and watch it Saturday morning, see what Coach Clifford and his co-partners are saying, and Sam Rupe, your expert analysis. So that's really great. I love to watch it on Saturday, but there's just nothing like those Friday night lights and getting behind a huge fan base that's packed and screaming and yelling and everything else that they could do. Bells, whistles, not whistles, but cowbells, gongs,
the air horns,
train horns. Whatever, any noise that can possibly be made, man, that would be good stuff.
Yeah.
Well, this is definitely the place to have this kind of a team. The football tradition here runs deep, runs long. You can talk to guys, they still remember the game back in 29, when they played, and it might have been 1829 for all I know. But you guys have a chance to really cement yourselves in the history of this school and the football tradition. So good luck this week, Lane.
Thank you.
Yeah. Well, thank you all so much for watching. Please tune into the stream on South 60 Films for New Lexington versus Sheridan, or get to the game. You might have to get there when school lets out because that place is going to be packed. Thank you so much for watching, and good luck to you both.
Thank you.